So the oil filter screen on this dozer is not a very convenient design. When you go to clean it, I had to unfold one of these seams here. And I'm not sure if I can get that plate and that screen out of there or not. I think I probably can. It might take a little doing. I need to flatten that down there just a little more. It's a bit awkward. It's very awkward. I'm sure they had a reason to build it that way. I'll probably put it back together that way. But I'm not going to put it back together that dirty. You got to figure out a way to knock it out of there. I'll get it. This stuff was laying in there blocking the oil screen. Like I say, I don't understand the design of it. A lot of them aren't built this way. I hope I can get the screen out of there without destroying it. I may have to undo these seams as well. And then I'll just have to seam it back up, I guess, when I'm done. It could probably be, a design change could probably be done on it. Wouldn't hurt anything, but like I say, I'll probably leave it like it is. Just nothing to get a hold of there. I think it'll come out though. They really had her smashed together. There we go. That thing, I don't know how it was getting any oil. This thing was almost, I bet it was 90% clogged. So when you did a cold start, I'm sure this thing sat there gasping for oil. Not good, but all this junk, there was even more, but there's some metal, some nice copper bearing pieces there. Junk that's good. It didn't go through the pump, but still, this engine's just beyond, you know, it's got so much crap in it. We'll get that cleaned up and we'll get that put back together. It's one of the tasks I got at hand. Cleaning parts is one of the worst parts about this, but anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and unpackage my new rods, or these ain't new, these rods have been cleaned up and measured. They checked them for straightness. They also put in new bushings at the machine shop. And I don't know, I think they magnaflux them as well. These are not numbered 1 through 4. They've got like a serial number on them. And if I remember right, the serial numbers go toward the cam side. And I'll have to look those up because I can't remember which one went where. But I've got new rod bolts to put in these. Didn't get new nuts, but I don't think the nuts are generally the part that fails. And these are yield torque, I believe, so you torque them down at a certain point and then you turn them 2 flats. 30 degrees, is that right? 60, I'd have to look at the book. Anyway, hopefully I got the right rod bolts. These have been sitting for a bit since I got these from the machine shop. Should be able to basically drive the old ones out. I hope I got the right bolts. Yeah, they're the same thread. I think they're the right ones. They look to be a little bit different design. And I think the difference is how they're held into the rod. These are knurled at the bottom. The new ones have a knurl. They also have a knurl in the center, but they got a little bit more meat on this end down here. Goodness, those are tight. Not sure I'm comfortable beating on it like that. They should not fall out. I just noticed another design difference. The part that goes into the rod cap is actually swelled up there a little bit. But it looks like they're gonna fit on just as easy. So I hope these are good bolts. They got a few less threads on them. But you can see they're out toward the end anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. You still got 1/4 inch thread underneath the cap. Should work. I believe these are metric. They got a 10-9 stamped in them. But they also got a FC. These are customized for Frank Cunningham right there. How about that? The old ones, I don't know who the other owner was. Maybe he didn't get his customized. Yeah, I guess we're still recording here. I had questions about, and my own questions about what kind of lubricant to use on the O-rings. And this kit came with, I actually got 2 of them in one bag. So this kit actually came with some lubricant I'm going to use. It's more Jolia, whatever that is. But there's another thing here with this kit. It came with 2 sets that are black, 1 set that's tan or brown, and then the other set has a red and a black that came in one kit. Now there's well, I don't like the shape of that one. There is a red dash on the thicker one, and we're only going to use the thicker ones. I believe it's that one. International had a change on these, and from what I can gather, if you're in doubt, use the thicker one. And I'm going to have to measure that one because I don't know if that's a yellow mark or a red mark. But the yellow mark is the thin one. The red mark Well, you can see that one's thicker, so that's the one we're going to use there. And then between these two, I believe the red one is thicker. These are the same. These are yellow mark. But, oh, I guess those are open on the other end. But like I say, this one has red marks on the thick one, yellow marks on the thin one. I didn't actually measure the ones I had out. I left them in the block. I shouldn't have. So the machine shop got them. I'm sure the trash man's got them by now. But anyway, the only ones we're concerned with or going to use are the red or the thicker O-rings. And so I'm going to lube these up with some of this more jelly lubricating oil. When I worked at John Deere, we used a special soap. The book says use motor oil. I've never used motor oil on one in my life. I always used the John Deere soap. Now, on this one, we're going to try the, I wonder if this isn't a soap. It says it's a lubricating oil, so it's more like a grease. But anyway, this Reliance parts kit, it's just a bit disappointing the way it seems to have different stuff. I don't know why they can't get a whole set of 4 that's the same, but so I've actually got that one in there. Let's see if they go. And it should just basically snap in place. They only sent 1 package of oil. Thought that was convenient for 4 liner O-rings. So I'm gonna look at this a second here. I think it went okay, but I'm gonna put just a little bit more lube on that. John Deere always had us use a soap because they said the oil would affect the O-rings, cause them to swell up. And there she went. Felt like it went pretty good. So that's why we always use the soap, and that's what I've used on case tractor engines when I rebuilt them. And I haven't rebuilt a diesel in a while, so this is almost like Vaseline. Like I say, I don't have a whole lot to use, so I'm just going to try to use what's in the packages. That way, if there is an issue with this kit, I can say, well, I used the supplied lube that came with it. So you want to make sure these liners or these O-rings are not rolled. And in my experience, they won't be rolled if they go in by hand. They might roll if you push them in too hard, but this one might make a liar out of me too. It's not heavy enough. But thing I never understood about the soap was on one side of these is antifreeze and on the other side is motor oil. So to me, it shouldn't make a difference. Man, that is a tight fit right there. Well, she's in there. It looks clean. Don't look like it bunched up or anything. I think we're okay on it. To me, it's just weird using different stuff. I don't know. I would have liked for it to all match, but I guess that's not an option these days. Even back when I rebuilt my Cummins in, what was it, 2002 or 3, I can't remember for sure, but 4 of my liners came from Brazil, I think, and 2 of them came from Great Britain. But so far, all 6 of them are working. So, you know, as long as they follow the good specs, shouldn't be an issue. I did talk to a couple of people at Reliance, and they assured me they'd get back to me. They never did call me back. So after talking to Billy Hopper, which rebuilds a lot of diesels, I think he talked to a friend of his, and after discussing it with him, we decided that what we got will probably work. That went in a lot better. The brown O-rings seem to be tougher for some reason. So we'll be ready to put pistons in after we get pistons on the rods and that kind of stuff here in a little bit. So making some progress finally on it. I've been so busy digging I hadn't had time to get to it, which isn't good, because if it sits out here for too long I forget where everything's at. At least that's my excuse. Probably just getting old and senile. That's the one I'm a little concerned about there. but they're in. All of the liners have O-rings and they are in place. We can actually take a dial bore gauge and we can check and make sure everything's uniform in case it did roll a O-ring, which I don't think it did. It just went in tough, a little harder material, I think. But yeah, made a little progress, just a little. So what I'm doing now, I've got a clean rag with automatic transmission oil on it, and I'm gonna clean these liners. I did wash them with parts washer, but to be sure they're really clean, you have to use oil. These crosshatch marks always hold a little bit of grit, and I don't know that they're really 100% clean when you get them from the factory anyway. I was told by, I think, a friend on Instagram, he may watch YouTube too, but he said to use automatic transmission fluid on your cylinders so they would break in easier. And I don't know that that's a bad idea, but what you can do is when you run a rag in there, and it's going to darken, but if you see little pieces of metal, like that gray, that means you're still picking up particles out of there. So now you could probably use soap and water, but at this point in the build I don't want to put soap and water in the crankshaft. And I'd kind of like for it to be preserved from rusting a little bit, just in case I don't get back out here to it quick enough. But we'll just kind of repeat that. I've got these two done. But the oil will help pick that metal up and help you get it out of there better than solvent. Oil will actually suspend it somehow. I don't know how that works, but I know you can wash parts in mineral spirits, and you can blow dry them, and then you can run a rag on them, and you'll still pick up metal. I may go over these one more time, but that's just kind of how I was taught to do them. I don't know, other people might not be that concerned about it. They got to break in, so they're going to have metal. But in my mind, you don't want any more in there than you have to have, and just gives me peace of mind, I guess, more or less. They come with some pretty good directions there. That's one ring. It's a keystone. Normally I put the marks to the top when I put them in, but I'm going to set it in here and just see. I don't know, that one actually is probably this one. Set it down in there. And you should be able to trust these kits. Now this one, see the front piston, or the one set, already came preloaded with. I'm going to use this one to set that down in there evenly. And probably not going to be able to set, well, probably can do that if I set it in there deeper. So we'll set that down a little deeper. We'll go ahead and check them all at once here. Now whoops, that was dumb. These all should fit. Coming from a kit, but who knows? We will know if we check it. So. And this one, I'm going to pull the expander out of it. That doesn't really affect end gap. Get our feeler gauge, we'll see what we got here. 14 to 22, 10 to 16. So 14 to 22 and 10 to 16 on the bottom ring. So the bottom ring, a little tighter clearance. So we're right at 16, maybe 15 on that one. So that one's good. The top two are 14 to 22. We'll start out here with a 14. Is snug on that one, and a little better on the top one, so probably 15 on it. Yep, 14, 15, we're within specs. You don't want to pull them out crooked. Yikes. So that's set, measured out good. I'm gonna go ahead and check all of them just to be on the safe side. Okay, just got done checking all the front, well, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I got them all checked. Everything looks good, but I got an interesting little piece here. This is the second ring in on the number 1 piston, we're going to call. But I wanted to show you, it was put in upside down, and it's actually marked upside down. It says top right there. That's the way they had it in the piston, but when you have a compression ring with this groove, that groove goes to the top. And to prove my point, if you look at the other piston ring sets, oh no, wait a minute. Huh. So we got a second ring there that's made different. Okay. These have a groove on the inside. This one has a groove on the outside. So maybe it is right. I don't know much, study that up, but the other rings look the same, but the top or the second ring, you can see it's not as shiny either. I don't know that matters. Anyway, different kit, different stuff. Actually, this is the one that goes in there. But the clearances are all good. Everything was spec'd just right at the minimum. A couple of them were just a little bit over minimum, but I just feel better checking it. Make sure it's good. I want to be sure it's right. Now on these, the bearing tabs go toward the cam side. This is the front of the engine. These are marked They were marked better before they machined them off, but we know which way they go because the combustion chamber is offset toward the, well, intake side of the engine. So just using some white assembly lube on these things. I got one snap ring in this one. I probably put the wrong one in, but or in the wrong side. But anyway, I try not to plug this hole with assembly lube because it's not pressure lubricated. This wrist pin is actually gravity or splash lubricated. So if you clog that hole, of course this oil should melt out pretty quick, or this grease should melt out pretty quick. Basically, we just set them in place and something like that. Just be sure you got your snap rings on. So there's number 2. And like I say, you got to be sure these tangs are toward the cam side of the motor and the arrows toward the front. Don't ask me what would happen if you didn't do it that way. I don't know, but it's the way they designed it to go together. So that's how we're going to try to do it. I got all the rings on the pistons. And I still don't know for sure on that one. It's a different style ring, so it might be. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it in there and run it. I mean, I don't know that this kit, I don't know that I'd buy from these people again, but well, probably will. I got pretty good prices. It's easier if you put one of them in first, I think, but I didn't this time. Well, don't tell me that ring ain't fitting in there. There it goes. So, moving along here. You want to be darn sure of those seats, because if those come out, they will take out your. There's just very little clearance in them, but there's a little bit in there. So number 3, and that is the front of the piston, and this is the tang side for the camshaft. So I got it right. Hot dog. Moving along at a blazing speed now. I know for a guy that does this every day, I'm really slow, and I'm probably doing it a little different. That's okay. You're not the guy paying the labor bill, I am, so there. But we're getting it little by little. Takes a lot of time to rebuild a diesel engine, but it takes me even longer. Like I say, I'm sure I could knock it out faster if I was practiced. I haven't done this in a while, so my main deal is I want to get it right. I don't want to have to go back into this again ever. So anyway, pistons rings are assembled. I'm gonna have to check on my ring compressor. I may need a new one. I don't know if the one I got's gonna work. Just kind of got to looking at it and it might have a problem. So anyway, that's where we're at today.